by Deity Animal Rescue. I'm Ellen Dante.
And I am Lindsay Bird.
And today we're very excited. Our very special guest is Karla Boss, Karla's Fosters.
Our guest is a woman who has dedicated her home and free time to animals in need. Karla and her family have built a life around providing safety, love, and security to senior, terminally ill, and broken dogs and countless moms and litters. Karla has instilled the importance of offering a soft place to land for those in need to her community and her family. They have created a sanctuary that has provided a safe temporary placement and sometimes forever placement for more than 1,500 animals. We had to do this episode at Karla's house to show you the incredible impact this environment has on dogs in need. Karla and her family are currently raising money to purchase a ranch in Colorado to expand their rescue efforts exponentially. Please welcome Karla Boss.
Yay! Hi. So I feel like we should start at the beginning of when we met. And you remember when that was?
I remember the first time I talked to you was when I had Ruby and her puppies, because we were talking about adopting, and I wanted to make sure you weren't going to come and take puppies away from mom like the previous rescue had done.
Oh.
And you said, no, they stay together. I'm like, okay, thank God, because I'm not doing that again. That was terrible. First time I met you, though, was when Ruby's adopter came to meet Ruby. That's when I first met you.
Yes. And Ruby is still...
She's Nala now.
Yep, she's Nala now. Shout out to Nala and her amazing mom, Kat.
What was Ruby's story? Because I was very new to Deity when she joined us.
She came from...
She was in the shelter, and what Laura
north.
told me was that the shelter wanted to euthanize her and take the puppies. And Laura said, no, I will take them all. And she asked me if I would help her. So I'm like, sure. So the very scared mom acted aggressive, but I knew she wasn't. Within 10 minutes, she was taking treats from me and coming out of the puppy house to hang with me and then go back.
How many puppies did she have?
She had 4 or 5.
So she was protecting her puppies and deemed aggressive by the shelter because she didn't seem friendly.
Because she was scared and she didn't know what their intentions were.
And because she was being a mommy?
Exactly.
Okay.
In a scary
making
place.
Sure we're on
Exactly.
the same page here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember she just blossomed here, and the puppies grew up, and they were adopted at 8 weeks old. They each one got wonderful adopters who we are still in contact with, and a lot of them have their own Instagram pages, and they even meet. They have, every year they do like a birthday meetup for the puppies.
One of my good friends and coworkers has the boy, the only boy she had.
Oh, that's precious. Well, you said that she thrived when she came to this home. Can you tell us why you think your environment, this pack, helps dogs thrive, especially scared ones or even ones who show up as aggressive, but they're not really? What does your pack do to help them?
We start off, if they're feeling that way, with a separate safe zone. So like she was in the puppy house and she didn't have to deal with my dogs or me, even if she didn't want to. In fact, when she first got there, one of her puppies sort of climbed out of the little puppy pen. I'm like, are you going to let me put him back?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know she was going to be afraid of me. So I sort of gently moved slowly and pushed him back in, but I gave her space. I would come and check on her from a distance and just be like, okay, hey. And then the next time I came outside, I was way over here and she came out to meet me. And I gave her a treat. And then she just was like, oh, can you just pet me?
So the space, the time.
The space, the time, the seeing that we're not scary. It's quiet here. Everyone gives other dogs their respect, their space. They're not pushy. They're not, I mean, when you come in, sometimes they're a little pushy, but they don't do that to the mama dogs. And every time a new mom comes out of that puppy house, they all kind of let them be and let them investigate while they sort of trail from behind and smell them, but not too close, not too pushy. They've just all learned that that's not how we roll here. Right. And we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And so they respect it. And then Houston licks them all.
Yeah. Houston, Grandpa Houston, he has helped with many litters of puppies here.
God, yes. It's had some rancid breath too, boy. I'm helping with those litters.
So you have kind of been known for helping dogs like Ruby. I remember, I think it was the next dog that we did
Danny.
together. Yeah.
A couple years later.
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah, it was Dean.
I'm
It
like,
was
why does
Dean.
it not
Danny was
sound
another
right?
one, but he didn't need help. He was great.
Yeah.
Dean needed your pack.
Yes.
Dean, definitely. That was, I'm like, can I help him? You're like, well, he has a foster. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, can you
It
take him?
needs
I'm
to
like,
be
yes.
you.
Well, I remember that phone call because you called me. It wasn't even a text. You called me after you saw us leaving McFarland Shelter with Dean and what it took to get him out of that kennel. He was a dog who was so scared that, remember, he was pancaked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was pancaked. He was peeing everywhere. If anyone even looked at him, he was so scared.
It was so sad to watch. Like, even just playing that back in my head, it was so sad. And we had put that in stories, and you thankfully must have been watching, and you saw that. And we were pulling into the vet that day on the way back from the shelter after the 2.5-hour drive. And you said, you know what? I think my pack can help him. Bring him to me. And I just remember like thinking to myself, thank God, yes, that would be perfect for him. But he's walking on a leash. His eyes have relaxed a little bit. How handsome. Because we were even scared to take him. We did have a foster offer, but we were scared to take him there, remember?
Yeah.
Because we're like, okay, he's so scared right now. Like, he's a flight risk. We don't know what's going to happen. So, and you even came to the vet.
Yeah, on Sunday when they were closed,
Yep.
and they let me take him. The girl there was in love with him. She's like, we all love him, so if it doesn't work out, bring him back. I'm like, okay.
Hi, Bubby. Hi.
Did he sleep through the night?
I think so. I did. He's so quiet. And
Do you remember what it was like bringing him into your house for the first time? How the dogs reacted, how they accommodated his energy?
Yeah, I had a smaller group at the time, but it was, I mean, it's still enough, but it was not this many. But they all just kind of said hey, welcomed him in, followed him as he cruised the yard. There was a puppy that just really wanted to play with him. And he's like, hey, dude, kept going, sniffing. He just wanted space. He just wanted to explore.
Yeah.
And then just like the look in his eye when he came inside and finally laid down, you could see from day one to where he was still like that look in his eye. And then 2 days later, he's like, hi. Like you could
Wow.
see it in his face, that just the relaxing, it was amazing. But it's just what I love. Like Mia, even though she's taken longer and she's not going to be a Dean, but still, it's like when you get to that point where they like trust you and they want your attention and they're happy and they're playing, I'm like, that's why I do that. And
Yeah.
that's what I love to see.
I
And
love
now you're
that.
ready to go to a new home.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I feel like when people want to add a dog to their home, they are really hoping the dog is going to bring something to them, when a lot of the dogs that you are drawn to need you to help them rather than them helping you. So what can a person do to allow a dog the time to decompress, to come out fully and like be their best selves in their home? Because you had Dean, who took a couple days, but you have Mia, who has taken a little longer than a couple
Yeah.
days.
It's really just space and ignoring them. Like you have to be aware of what they're doing and everybody else's body language and what's going on, but you don't have to be like, oh, come here, come on, let me pet you, here's some cookies. Like that's not what they need. They need space to like basically assess their new life and figure out what's going on. Like if you were going into a new home
Totally.
when you're scared to death and you don't know what their intentions are, you just want to observe for a little while. And that's what they need. They need a safe spot to observe and know that no one's going to hurt them. No one's going to push them to do something they're not comfortable with. Like, let's do this in your time. And when you're ready, we're going to see what you wanted, what you can do. And I will always encourage them to like go for a walk with us. If they don't want to, you don't have to. One day you'll want to, but until then, you can chill out here. You don't have to go. But just those kinds of things. Like they just really need you to let them be. And then these guys bring them to me. So all the dogs that are scared to death, eventually they want to be with other dogs. So the
Yeah.
dog's coming to me. All of a sudden the dog's like, she must be cool if they're all going over there. I'm like, I do have the cookies.
I do have the
I
cookies.
do have
I'm
the
cookie
leashes, the
dispenser.
treats. I have all the surf and turf. I have all the good stuff.
That's amazing.
So yes, come to me.
you know, speaking of Mia, because that was an extra long case, I think, for you. But, you know, going back to what you just said, about allowing them the time and also the respect, giving them the respect to kind of find themselves. I mean, Mia is a dog who was basically found feral in the forest in shrubs that they had to pull out, and they put her in a kennel, and she basically did not move the entire time. They had to.
She just shook.
And she was another dog where you just said, bring her to me. I think my pack can help her. And her first stop in your house was underneath your kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how she came to be the Mia that she is today, who is actually, you guys, she's sitting right over there watching this whole thing, not quite a part of it, but wanting to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, she's sitting on my table, and if I wouldn't have made her go out to the bathroom, she would have held it. So at least twice a day, I would climb under the table, thank God she wasn't bitey, put a leash on her, give her encouragement to follow me, and she would run into the side yard. And I'd close the door so she was not going back in until she pottied. Nice. And the whole time she was out there, she was looking for her way out, looking at my fence, looking at the chair near the fence. So I had to move the chair away from the fence. Like, you're not, just go potty. That's all I'm asking. Just potty, and you can go back to the table. And she would, and eventually she got used to it. And eventually I'd bring a friend or two in the side yard with us, so she was more comfortable with them. She still doesn't go for a walk on a leash, but she's part of the pack. Like, it just took time. Like, even that, getting her out of the side yard, eventually I had to close the door and open this gate to encourage her to come out here into the bigger yard instead of just that tiny little side yard. And then she made a trail through my yard because she would run the perimeter, like constantly going in a circle.
Yeah.
So it's still sort of growing back.
But you know what? That's a true testament to you setting some structure and boundaries for her that she then, as that type of dog, became familiar with and got comfortable with.
Right.
And, you know, has made her into she and Butter. That would be you and Butter, I guess, because he pushed her out from underneath the table.
Oh, my Butter. I love that dog.
Yeah, because he was so food motivated. He just wanted her.
He's such a Parker. And he had the same food outside, but he really wanted what she had under the table. Because I put a dog bed and food and water under there because she was afraid to share the other bowls for a little while. But yeah, it's just like sort of the gentle push of, I know you can do more. Let's do a little more. I'm not going to stare at you while you're doing it. I'm going to completely ignore you while you're doing it, but let's do a little more. And she did. And slowly but surely, she came around.
It feels like hearing these stories, there's so much that you can relate to just being like a human being and operating in the world. What has having all of these dogs, all their different personalities, watching them interact, what has that done for you and your family as like people in the world?
Well, I work in a restaurant, and so we get a lot of different personalities, whereas a lot of people can be very opinionated or judgmental. And to me, I'm like, they're just quirky. It's all good. I'm sure they've got their niche. Like, I don't know. I think I'm probably more patient. Like, I still joke about some of the things they do, but I don't find myself judging them, really. It's just kind of like, okay, well, that's the thing that we're doing now, so.
Everyone's on their path.
Yeah. Everyone's handling this world their own way, so whatever.
We're all just doing the best.
We're doing the best we can. No, I think that that's true, and especially with rescue dogs, because you don't know what their history was. They're never going to be able to tell you. You just kind of take what you get in front of you, and you learn to give them the best environment to thrive. And I think that that is really applicable to human beings. Is someone sniffing? What happened?
I really want to yell at her to shut up.
Can they hear? Can you hear her? It's okay? Oh, okay. Who is it?
It's Princess.
Okay, Princess is also ours.
Princess! Hey, come on. Good girl. Come on. It's probably someone outside.
She just wants her voice to be heard.
Yes.
She wants to be a star. Yeah. That's right.
I'm sorry we lost track.
Oh, I don't know. I was talking about humans because I've learned so much from dogs. I'm an introverted person, and I feel like when I see dogs, I can relate to them, especially when they're scared or overwhelmed. And when I come into this house, I can feel the same sense of like, I can just be whoever I am. I can take the time that I need. And all of the dogs have different personalities and bring me something and some sort of comfort. I can see how that really affects a dog. Like Mia's kind of, I relate to Mia a lot. Like, she will never be the dog that's going to jump on your lap. But that doesn't mean that she's not going to bring something extraordinary to your life. And I love that about your pack and your house. Like, Mia's still afraid of your husband, but that doesn't mean he loves her any less. And I like that a lot.
She barks at him because she's uncomfortable with it. But, like, I can hug her. I can cuddle her. I can lay with her on the couch. I can brush her. If I can coax her into the side yard, I can give her a bath. But, like, she trusts me to do stuff.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, Glenn just doesn't spend a ton of time personally with her. He's with everyone, but not dealing with them.
Right. And she may be telling a story to the dogs who come into your pack who are very scared to be like, don't worry. Like, it's cool here. You can chill.
You can bark at him if you want, but he'll still be nice to you.
Yes, he'll still give you treats.
He'll still give you a cookie.
I like to call your place the golden ticket of foster homes.
Oh, do you agree?
Do puppies have something to say?
Yeah, the puppies say, I agree.
Because yes, you know that when these dogs are coming into your home, a lot of them have come from, situations like Princess, for example. Her owner was not very nice to her, and some good humans just basically saw that happening and removed her from that situation. And you said, bring her to me. And here she is living her best life and looking for her forever home. But this is probably the first time in her life, knowing what we know about her previous situation, that she's just allowed to be a dog now, you know? And she's just the sweetest girl who's blossoming. And you even mentioned that she holds no animosity towards anyone.
Not towards men, anyone, even though that was the one who was not nice to her. She loves my husband. She loves my son. Like, she will cuddle with whoever will let her.
That's amazing. I think that when you walk into your house, you can tell that you and your family have dedicated your personal space to dogs in need. Can you tell us about that transition? Was everyone on board? Like, what does it feel like now for you? Like, in your living room, does it feel like you're part of the pack, or does it feel like you are the pack leader? What's the vibe?
I'm definitely the pack leader, or we'd have some serious issues. They all know that when I'm here, like, I'm the one who dictates how this thing rolls. And we have a pattern that we do every day. They know when I finish my coffee and I head down the hall to put on my shoes that it's time for walks. And they know their groups. So
and they know Karla needs
whoever's turn
first.
it is, they know that they're at the gate waiting for their leash. And, like, they know our routine. In fact, today they'd already gone for walks, and I started putting on makeup for this. And Princess is looking at me like, really, where are you going? I'm like, sweetie, I'm not going anywhere. Because she knows I don't put makeup on unless I'm going to work.
This is not part of the routine.
Yeah, and she's like, come on, it's so early. But, I mean, it didn't start out with this many dogs, obviously. I already had 2 dogs. We would do one mama with her puppies and not a new one until they all got adopted. And it just sort of spiraled when we kept one of our fosters. And my husband's like, how are you going to keep doing this if we keep that one? I'm like, we'll figure it out. And now we have a gajillion, so we figured it out.
Yeah, there's always room.
There's always room.
And I want to shout out to your wonderful husband, because there is actually a puppy house here on this property that he helped you build.
He did that fence that's around it, and he made it with small links so no little puppies could poke their little heads out if we got little breeds. Yeah, we had my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and their construction crew actually donated all the materials and the time to build that. Amazing. We did have a different puppy house on there before, but it was rotting and falling apart. So my sister and I destroyed it, and that was a fun day. That was actually really fun demoing that.
You took a whatever those things are called.
They're sledgehammers. Are they sledgehammers?
Yeah. Oh, we beat the crap out of that thing and knocked the whole thing down.
Amazing.
And discovered how heavy even that little roof is.
I imagine.
Yeah, and then my husband and the kids got rid of everything, and construction crew started a couple weeks later. Yeah, so.
And you have had, at least from our rescue, Ruby, Abby.
Or are you going to name all the mommies and litters?
Yes,
It's a
because
lot.
I can sit here and visualize all the moms sitting in the door after they're like shell shocked that they just had all these babies and they're in there and like, you know, they're little like blobs, to seeing the puppies emerge from the door and then from the gate.
And Houston waiting patiently.
And I feel like, you know, Juno, the RV, 2 moms that you took in, Abby. Who else?
Gosh, I don't even remember them all.
There's so many.
So many.
So many.
Well, because it also ends up being like, can you take them? And it's like a yes. And I don't know. It happens very quickly.
Yeah.
And we know that the puppy house is a place that, I don't know. We're like, well, Karla has a puppy house.
We do. Our entire process, Lindsay and I, when we're at the shelter and we see a pregnant mom, it starts out with just like a look, like an unspoken thing.
Should
like,
we text Karla?
Should we text Karla?
And you know, as soon as I see that face and I get the, do you have room? I said, no. Just bring them.
Right. Either that or first you're like, you didn't leave that dog there, did you? And then you're like, bring her. Yeah. So that's usually how it goes down. Just so you know, our behind the scenes. You're just getting home from work. So if I have like personal or work, you're my text. Or if like something's happening with one of the dogs, like Abby when she went into labor. We were on the phone all night, I feel like. And then actually she ended up in C-section.
Yeah.
Because she had that broken
weird leg.
Yeah, her pelvis had been broken when she was hit by the car and the puppies couldn't slide out.
They weren't coming out.
That was a long night. And you had to work the next day.
Yeah. I dropped her off early in the morning. I think it was like 1 a.m. I think I dropped her off at the vet. And then I picked her up after work at around 4.
And she had how many puppies? 5? 7?
5 and 5 maybe. I don't remember. But she wanted nothing to do with them because she was still on drugs. And that's when P's like, I'll take them. She climbed right in there and let them suckle, even though she didn't have anything. She groomed them all. I'm like, all right, but Mama's gonna get in there and feed those babies because I cannot. So she did.
I'm so sorry I missed that moment.
You know what?
Oh, I have video.
I was snoozing. I need that.
Your sleep is important, and you're good like that.
That was a very stressful come home though, because I brought her home. She didn't want anything to do with the puppies. The vet was concerned she wasn't making very much milk. I'm trying to figure out, how do you help them make milk? I got to go buy bottles and formula and contacting Bree to find out, what have you tried? You do a lot of stressful puppy situations. I also had adopters coming to meet a different dog. And I'm like, okay, we can do this. Prioritize, we'll get it figured out.
Oh, totally.
And everyone lived.
And with moms and babies have to stay together for 8 weeks. That's a lot of time. And some of your dogs who are older or have some health issues, they take longer to get adopted. Mm-hmm. And I imagine that you guys get very attached. How does your family deal with dogs getting adopted, leaving the pack? Like, what's that like here?
I think we've gotten so used to it in the last 15 years that even if it sort of breaks your heart, you know that it's making a spot for someone else, and you know they're going to a good home, because I'm not letting them leave if it's not. And you guys are so good at making sure it's a good home, and then when I meet them, I have questions also.
Right.
And telling them about the dog and, can you handle these things? And this is the way you need to do it. And if not, you bring them back to me. Like, don't even question it, just bring them straight back to me. But it's nice. You miss that energy for a little while, but you know there's always another one coming, especially now. So it's, I don't know. It's sad and happy all at the same time.
Someone else needs you. And they need the spot. And we need this spot.
Yeah. Like even...
You guys are talking a lot about the pack, which, you know, from an outsider's perspective feels like a very like primal, cool word. But what does that mean from a foster perspective, and then in present day? Like, what does that look like? And then how do you create that environment with dogs coming in and out?
Well, my pack started with just 2 dogs, my pets, and then we started fostering. And I realized, because I ran a child daycare at the time, and I realized I needed to understand dogs' energy, body language, sort of how to deal with all of that. So I really started watching Cesar Millan, and not just sort of watching it, the show, and being, oh, this is so cool, like watching what he was doing and what he was seeing. And I got it. Like, I understood and I could see it. So when dogs come in, I'm probably not going to talk to the human as much as I'm watching what's going on in my pack and with the new dog, because I need to see the interaction and what's going on and controlling my group and letting the new dog come in. I'm looking at their tail, their ears, everything. Like, for instance, when Priscilla got here, we weren't sure she could get along with all the dogs. The dogs will kind of have their spot in the pack, but it's not like a pecking order like anyone's low man on the totem pole. They just all have different energies and personalities. And we learn to respect each other and control the parts we don't like and encourage the parts we do like. But when Priscilla got here, we weren't sure how she's going to be with the other dogs. And she was sure putting on a show.
She really
like
did.
She was going to be a jerk, but I could see it was a show. So I moved to the other side of the fence because we were over here. And I controlled her from that side while Ellen was bringing her in while I was with my pack. And it was much smoother. She came in, she sniffed around, then she's like, I could do this. And she just fit in. And we ended up adopting her. She was supposed to be a foster, but my husband fell in love with her. I mean, we all love her, but when my husband falls in love with one, we keep them. But that's kind of the pack, is like having a big family. If you're all going to be in the same house, you all have to get along. You have to figure that out. And where you sleep, where you eat, where you chill. It's, just what's your vibe, what's your routine. And because we keep a routine, everyone gets a walk every day. We burn off that energy. And then the rest of the time they're with me. And if things come up, I control it, which is why they look at me like as the pack leader, because they know I'm not going to let chaos happen. Well, not as much as I think should happen. Sometimes it gets a little carried away with little ones, but for the most part. Yeah.
I think that is a really interesting way to look at it, because dogs are pack animals in the wild. They live in a pack, but once they have been domesticated and a family has a dog, there's not always a pack of dogs that live in a house. So I think it's really interesting to look at the family as the pack and seeing a dog as part of that pack. And something really cool about the way that dogs come out from being fostered at your house is that they've had that experience of being in a pack, and they've learned what qualities they have that they need to amplify and which ones are not that loved amongst the others. So I think that's another way that it really teaches you about life.
Well, and they also learn about the different energies of people, because not everyone who lives in my house is like me. I mean, they're my children and my husband, but we all have our own personalities. We all have our own frustrations and energy. So
they come out so well-rounded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just as a woman, one of the things that I love watching you do is just what you said, when you bring these new dogs into the home, watching you as that pack leader. You've got your shit together. You're the one in control. They're listening to you. And, that for me, in my own life as a, mom, friend, woman in business, dog rescue lady, feels very empowering when I put your techniques to use in my own life. It's kind of just, it's kind of next leveled my even, work stuff.
What would Karla do?
Yeah. What would Karla do? I channel you in my everyday life.
I just found out it works with cats too.
Does it?
One of my neighbors has cats, and I guess there's a neighborhood stray that likes to hang out at her house. And she was telling me about how it was getting a little pushy with one of her cats, and she's being, oh, come on, you gotta go. And finally she's like, nope, and it listened. I'm like, it works with cats?
Amazing.
Who knew? I don't have cats.
Cats aren't pack animals.
No, they're punks.
They are. They could be.
But it works, apparently.
No cats at Karla's house currently,
But
obviously.
there are other animals. Who else do you have here?
We have a tortoise, which they're all cool with. We have a swimming turtle. They're all rescues. His fish that he refused to eat, who are now ginormous.
They're like koi pond fish.
Yes, they started out tiny goldfish, and they're his friends.
Okay.
So. Unless
Friends,
you're
not
changing
food.
his pond water, then he tries to eat them.
Aww.
Yeah, but they all survive. They have scars, but, they live. They're tougher.
Wow. One of the things that I wanted to touch on here, because, we've been through this together now more than a few times, is having to say goodbye. And the way you handle it, the way you process it, is just so admirable. And I think that if you wouldn't mind speaking to that a little bit, I know that for some people who might be considering fostering seniors, because, you know, collectively we do a lot of senior dogs, sometimes there's quality of life decisions that need to be made. And you always, because I'm not the one to ever make that decision, it's always you and you. I would love to hear about your process in that.
When I get them, I know, like, I need to keep a close eye, especially like with Blanche, for instance. I knew she had a lot of issues with all the medicine she came with. I'm like, whoa, what's going on with you, little Missy? So, like, I knew most likely she wasn't going to be here a long time, but it just helping them enjoy their life and watching. And when I see things aren't going as happily as they once were, making that decision sucks every time, and I cry every time, which no one's allowed to see, so I do it by myself. And I just sort of I've learned to compartmentalize things. So, and people, I know a lot of people sort of are sad for a long time, and I am, but this pack needs me to be present, and I can't be crying all the time. They're not going to know how to sort of internalize that amongst themselves and like what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure they've all seen me cry, but I tend to do that by myself. And then I come out and deal with them, and we still do our walks. We still do everything we need to do. And they help me get over it faster, because I can't dwell on it. I can't sit there and live in that moment, because life goes on, and I have to let it go on, especially for them. Like, they need that.
And you're so good at determining, you know, obviously when dogs come here, especially the seniors, they're living their best lives, you know, and that quality of life thing, while they're here and happy and healthy and thriving, it's so beautiful to watch.
And for them, it's worth a lifetime. Even if it was just a week here, I think that they get to experience that, and that's what they consider their life to have been.
And I love it. I love giving that to them.
And you're so brave, because you are able to look them in the eye and know when that quality of life is diminished, and, you know, when they're telling you that they're not happy anymore.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
I can't be selfish. I couldn't live with myself if I was being selfish and keeping any of them alive, being uncomfortable, being miserable, being in pain, just because I can't say goodbye.
Right.
That it's not about me. Like when they brought me Blanche at the vet's office saying she's dying, we could potentially keep her alive through the weekend if you want to do that. I'm like, no. I told them this is not about me. So they brought her in, and they said you could spend as much time as you want with her. Just ring this bell when you're ready. She couldn't breathe. I'm like, I'm ready. Like, she's ready. This, again, it's not about me. I can't sit here and cry on her and be, oh, my poor baby, when she's
Miserable.
crazy, miserable.
Yeah.
Like, she can't breathe. How does she care that I'm crying and saying goodbye? Let's let her go peacefully as we can. And
with some dignity.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I can't let them be. I couldn't live with myself if I knew that they lived crazy misery because I was being selfish.
Totally.
I can't.
Totally.
Yep. And then we know not to call you for the rest of that day.
Yes,
and we wait for you to reach out to us.
You may text me. You may not call me, because I will not talk.
That's fine.
And everyone at work knows, do not talk to me about that dog, because I need to keep makeup on my face.
Oh, yeah. I feel like
usually-
you sent out a mass text. You're like, not to be mentioned today.
Yeah.
Whoever's working, because I know a lot of them follow my page and they love all the dogs. And I'm like, we're not talking about it. I don't want you to give me that sad look when I walk through the door. We're going to pretend life is normal.
Right.
You can talk to me about it tomorrow.
Right.
So another question on you and your processes. And, you know, we're learning, Lindsay and I, and this has been a slow process for us, but having to recognize when it's time to put our own oxygen mask on and take care of ourselves. What does that look like for you? How do you take care of yourself in the midst of taking care of everyone else?
I don't need a lot. I'm not a gotta get a facial kind of girl or massage. Like, I don't care about any of those things. Literally only put makeup on for you girls or work.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Really, I let my therapy is like chilling out with these guys at the end of the day and having a couple beers, or my grandkids.
Yeah.
Like, I love that my grandkids want me to be doing stuff with them all the time. It's my favorite. And then if they're busy, these guys always want your attention and love, and just sitting on the couch with them.
What?
When no one else is home but me and the dogs, just chilling in the backyard, having a beer while they play around, or that to me, that is like my self-care, my calm time, because I work a lot too. But luckily I work nights for the most part, so that's when the dogs they don't care anyway.
Right.
It's not like in the daytime when they're full of energy.
Right.
So for the most part, the house is peaceful. And that's what I love, is when it's peaceful and quiet. That's self-care for me. I don't need the other things.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm really not even comfortable with the other things, which is why I still never got that massage my husband
I
bought
was
me.
just gonna say, yeah, we just heard about the massage that was gifted
I
to
got
you
last
over
Christmas.
a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so this is such a family affair. Can you tell us about Colorado?
Well, Colorado, it's gonna happen at some point. We just want to get the dogs out of here, where they're more desirable, for the bigger ones especially, because it's just every day Rita's posts kill me. All the dogs that died the day before or that morning, or she came back to work and they're gone because they ran out of space, because people are doing crappy things, and it's just a lot. And so I can't rescue as many as I would like. As many times as I see her page and I know I could help that dog or the other dogs or the puppies, I can't. Where am I going to put them? There's just no more space until dogs are getting adopted, and the big ones don't go as quickly. The older ones don't go as quickly. So we need the space for that. So the GoFundMe is still happening. We are nowhere near what we need.
But side note, for those who don't know, the GoFundMe is for the Dare to Dream Rescue Ranch that Karla and her family are creating in Colorado.
Right. Yeah. We're going to, it's going to happen one day.
I know that it will.
It will.
It will. It's going to happen. And the impact that you can have, I think when you and I were running the numbers on that, was pretty amazing. You figured that by us rescuing X amount of dogs, sending them to you wherever you end up in Colorado, what was that number that we came up with for a yearly estimate?
I think, well, with the property we were hoping for, it was roughly 300 dogs.
Yeah.
It's a significant percentage of Los Angeles as a whole, and
Could
the
you
euthanasia
imagine
rates as a whole.
Getting them out of the
It's
shelter and
hugely
making all that
impactful.
extra space for the other ones that are coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I
Yeah.
look forward to you doing it. It's going to be
I'm
amazing.
going to build you little houses to come visit.
Oh,
Yeah, we also don't need a lot.
we don't need a lot. And I fully support that. I think you should do
you're
like,
gonna be cleaning.
Okay.
okay.
I'm just kidding.
Whatever we have to do, we'll pay our way.
You just get to visit the dogs. I'll clean.
I think you should put like an Airbnb on the property and just
That'd
have
be
people
fun.
come. I bet you there's so many people here watching right now who would be like, we would do that. We would come out to do that to help you.
Well, yeah, and if the dog time is therapy for you, imagine how puppy therapy could work for
Right?
everybody else.
You could pick your Airbnb. Do you want puppy therapy? Do
Yeah,
you want
what do you
senior
need?
therapy? Do
What
you
do
want
you
to
need?
run with a dog? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
We got it all.
I think
Yeah.
we're on to something here.
Yeah, that will be for our next life.
Well, that
It'll
will be
happen.
for our non-massage thing.
Yeah.
Forget the massage. We want to go to Karla's.
We'll put one of those shiatsus in every room, so when you're done, you can just hook up your dude and have her dig in.
Self-care is important.
There you go.
There you go.
You can massage yourself. It'll be great.
So thank you so much for doing what you do day in and day out, and for sending that text to us over and over to bring them to me, which just warms our heart every time you do it. We promise not to take advantage, at least try not to.
We will try
don't.
not to take
You
advantage.
don't.
Well, I do want to introduce Princess and Zula,
Yes.
who are here
Oh.
in Karla's pack and are looking for their forever homes. Ladies,
Zula.
Zula Bula.
I see a Princess Tushy over there. Do you see that?
Princess.
Princess!
Did we wait too long?
She
She's
was over here
sunbathing.
for a
Look,
sec.
she's totally yawning on her pink blanket. Come on, Mama. Okay, Thor, not
Okay,
you,
that's
buddy.
Thor. Thor
Come
has
on.
his forever home.
Come here, Zula. Come on. Come on, Papa Pop. Come on, big girl. There we go.
Yay!
Come here, mama.
Oh, that's both of us.
These beautiful faces. So to reiterate their story, Karla, if you wouldn't mind.
Well,
Thor.
I got a
Wait,
phone
wait,
call
wait,
from
hold
a
on.
friend. I got a phone call from a coworker who was hanging out at one of the bars she likes, and she saw this man abusing this beautiful princess, and she was not having it. And so somebody at the bar with her, a nice large gentleman, walked over and just took the leash from the abuser and walked off with her, which he did not try and fight back. He let her go.
Thank God.
We found out later that night that earlier in the day he also had a puppy who was quite sick that he just gave to a bartender who also could not keep her. So Princess came to me. Zula went straight to the vet to make sure she didn't have parvo or anything, which she did not. She just had a parasite. And she came to me the same afternoon. And they've been here ever since. A little over a month. Got an itch?
So Zula now is about 5 months old. She is a beautiful, heart-nosed
Sweet
puppy.
good girl.
Available for adoption. And then Princess is,
Hi. Good girl.
remind me, 8?
She's almost 9.
And she is just a dream, you guys.
She's so good.
Like, she's lovely.
She's even putting up with these puppies in her face.
Yeah. And just,
Doesn't care. Hi. Hello.
what's
Wait.
his name?
Twig.
Yeah.
That's a yes. That's me.
It's me, I'm Twig. So Zula and Princess are adoptable on our website, deityanimalrescue.org/adopt.
Thank you again for joining us. If you don't mind, please tell the world where they can find you.
My Instagram and Facebook is Karla's Pack with a K. And the GoFundMe is on there in the bio for the Rescue Ranch.
It's also in our bio on our Instagram as well. Karla's
Thank
Dare to
you.
Dream Rescue Ranch.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your pack with us
You're
and
welcome.
helping all of these amazing dogs in need, and for sharing the good news about dog rescue
Thanks
and
for
the
coming
impact
and
we can
asking
make.
all the questions.
Anytime. We love coming here.
I love when you guys come.
You can find us on our Instagram at Deity Animal Rescue, and as well on Facebook and TikTok. And these beautiful ladies are adoptable on deityanimalrescue.org.
That's right.
That's a wrap.